Hey everyone, this is Isaac here, and welcome back to Isaac Reviews 2023. The 80s was a time when toy-based cartoons were at their peak, and one of the most well-known examples of this was Transformers. Based on the action figures of the same name from toy giant Hasbro, Transformers would go on to be one of the company's biggest and most successful franchises alongside G.I. Joe, My Little Pony, and Power Rangers. While I haven't seen the original Transformers cartoons and movies, there is one aspect of this franchise that I'm familiar with, the Michael Bay movies, and they were awful, like absolute garbage. Well, the first one was just kinda mid, but the rest ranged from pretty bad to two of the worst pieces of cinema I've ever had the displeasure of watching. But then in 2018, things were a little different with the spin-off Bumblebee. This time, Michael Bay only served as a producer with Laika CEO and Kubo and the Two Strings director Travis Knight at the helm instead, and the end result was honestly really good. It had a lot of heart, the CGI and action scenes were great, and there was a keen sense of 80s nostalgia present throughout the film, making for a very enjoyable watch overall. And now, almost 5 years later, Paramount's rolled out a new Transformers spin-off, Rise of the Beasts. From Creed 2 director Stephen Caple Jr., this one takes inspiration from the franchise's Beast Wars storyline, which introduced a subgroup of animal Transformers known as the Maximals. As for my anticipation for the film, while I wasn't expecting anything groundbreaking, I was still interested in it, and I was curious to see how Paramount would pull it off. In fact, the main thing I was surprised by leading up to its release was that Hasbro's film subsidiary, Entertainment One, was not involved in producing this one, despite producing some of the more recent movies based on other Hasbro franchises. But whatever, I saw it on the Thursday premiere with my grandparents, and we all really enjoyed it. Let me explain why. It centers around Noah, a young adult from Brooklyn in 1994 who stumbles upon the Transformers after some wacky hijinks, although it turns out that the Autobots, led by Optimus Prime as always, are searching for a sort of portal key MacGuffin thingy that can transport them back to their home planet Cybertron. However, Unicron and his Terrorcon army, led by Scourge, are also after this key, as Unicron plans to use it to complete his goal of galaxy-wide destruction. But as it turns out, there's this other group of Transformers called the Maximals, led by Optimus Primal, who've been protecting part of this key for centuries after Unicron destroyed their home planet. So the Autobots and Maximals, as well as Noah and an archaeologist named Elena, have to join forces in order to stop the Terrorcons and save the galaxy. A frequent and accurate criticism with the Michael Bay movies is that the Transformers themselves don't have much of a role in their own movies, with most of their excruciatingly long runtimes being dedicated to focusing on boring human characters. Thankfully, Rise of the Beast does a good job balancing out Noah's Ark with the Transformers stuff, and I honestly enjoyed his development as well as Anthony Ramos's performance. But all the rest of the actors here were also great, with the voice actors for the Transformers easily being the highlights. Like, the fact that Peter Cullen is 80 years old and still sounds great as Optimus Prime is astounding. Speaking of the Transformers' role in this movie, I was really happy to see them actually get more screen time as opposed to how they were in Bay's franchise, not to mention they had some really cool designs that translated very well to CGI. In fact, this movie's visuals looked pretty good for the most part, especially during the action scenes, which were amplified by the great direction and a fantastic score by rookie composer Jean-Nic Bontemps, in addition to the song choices doing a good job establishing this movie's mid-90s setting. But just as a reminder, this is still a Transformers movie at the end of the day, so naturally it's gonna have some problems, and Rise of the Beast is not without its faults. The pacing was inconsistent and messy, some of the green screen effects looked extremely amateurish and distracting, the climax felt like another generic big fight with copious amounts of CGI that we've seen countless times before in other Hollywood blockbusters, and while I did enjoy the cast here, I do wish some of the characters had more to do in the grand scheme of the story. Otherwise, in conclusion, Transformers Rise of the Beast isn't the best live-action Transformers movie since Bumblebee also had some heart to go with the usual exciting action, but for the standards of its franchise, it's still extremely refreshing. It's well directed, the concepts are cool, the visuals look okay for the most part, and there's some good action to balance out the interesting character drama. For any fans of the original Transformers stuff before Michael Bay got his grimy mitts on the franchise, this should be a refreshing return to form, especially if you enjoyed Beast Wars. As for me, I'm still interested to see where this franchise will be going from here. I mean, we're getting an animated Transformers movie pretty soon from the director of Toy Story 4, so that should be interesting. Plus, this movie is supposed to be the start of a trilogy, and in that case, I'm interested to see what's in store for this franchise. 7.5 out of 10. Next time, believe it or not, I'm gonna be reviewing The Flash. Originally, I was planning to boycott this movie due to Warner Bros. Refusing to fire Ezra Squarehead Miller after the plethora of crimes they've committed, but then I realized that it'd be pretty unfair if I made the upwards of thousands of people who worked on this movie suffer for one person's mistakes. Not to mention, there's been a lot of positive buzz surrounding this movie's test screenings, so I'll just have to see how things go for the DC Cinematic Universe's Big Reset movie. Anyways, thanks for watching this episode of Isaac Reviews 2023. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!